Hey y'all, good afternoon out there. You ever just stumble upon something really awesome, like by surprise, totally by surprise, not planned, not Googled. I didn't ask Siri or Alexa or my aunt Janice or whatever. Where should I stop when I'm traveling? I didn't do any of that because I'm winging it, old-fashioned, and that's really the only way to just happen upon something awesome like this. I'm tired, I'm out of gas, I'm struggling, I got $5 in the last town, I'm going up this mountain with $5 gas going, oh, am I gonna make it, am I gonna make it, am I gonna make it? I made 15 miles, I'm like, I might be able to go 30, but I don't really know. And I see this sign that says Demoss Park, half a mile. And I drove past it at 55, 60 miles an hour, Demoss Park, that's what it says. And Heinrichs Road. This is on the way to Bend on Highway 97 from the Dalles. And I went past it, but I saw like a camper parked in the shade. I'm like, that looks really nice. I'm hot, I'm bothered, I'm annoyed, I'm grumpy, I'm cranky, I'm hungry, I'm dopey, I'm sleepy, I'm all the seven dwarves. As per usual. Doing what I can, but I get grumpy. There's a dime right there. Cans, and plus that's just the right thing to do, pick up the cans. Anyway, so I come around, I pull in. And the camper had moved and was in the sun. I guess it was in the bathroom. To be perfectly honest, to be perfectly forthcoming and honest, I was hoping to strike up a conversation with the campers and elicit some sympathy and maybe some gasoline, and I can sell them something. I got all kinds of gear. Camping gear and clothes and stuff. I mean, I'm not destitute. I have a difficult time getting people's attention. It's very difficult to get anyone's attention in this culture. I don't mean to shake the camera. I get it animated. But anyways, talking about the point I'm talking about, which is this. Have you ever just stumbled upon something fucking amazing? The Demoss Lyric Bards. Music when soft voices die, vibrate in the memory. Percy Shelley. Professor James M. Demoss of Indiana, a United Brethren minister with wife Elizabeth Bonebreak and young son Henry, crossed the Oregon Trail to Cove, Oregon in 1862. James and Elizabeth were natural musicians and passed this talent on to their 5 children, Henry, Lizzie, probably Elizabeth, George, Minnie, and May. Along with their singing ability, they played many instruments to accompany themselves. By 1872, they started touring as the Demoss Lyric Bards, bringing to musically starved towns, schools, and grange halls a much-loved variety of vibrant songs, entertainment, and the Word of God. In 1883, they camped at this spot, and a tired Elizabeth announced this was to be home. They purchased the land, laid out a town site with streets named for famous musicians and poets, and registered a fiddle as their stock brand. The Demoss Lyric Bards made tours from 1872 to 1933, traveling to every state and Canada, plus 2 trips abroad where they studied and performed for Queen Victoria and Tsar Nicholas II of Russia. I'm reading about the musicians traveling, playing for the Tsar and the Queen. And meanwhile, the semi is going to carry whatever they're carrying over to wherever they're going to take it to whoever's doing it, and whatever, all the noise is going by to interrupt me. Anyway, so the Demoss Lyric Bards made tours from 1872 to 1933. They played for Queen Victoria and Tsar Nicholas II of Russia. They performed at 5 world fairs in Chicago, St. Louis, Portland, Seattle, and San Francisco. Henry Demoss wrote songs for all the states and composed Sherman County's favorite, Sweet Oregon. Lizzie and George Demoss married P. Waldo and Aurelio Davis, a very talented brother and sister, to enrich their performances after the untimely deaths of Elizabeth, May, and Minnie. Professor James then married Julius Chateau, and their children were John and Ruth. John's descendants still farm the Demoss land. When this gifted, close-knit, fun-loving family returned to Demoss Springs each year, people came in large groups for days to enjoy the camaraderie and chautauquas of that time. This park on this town site was dedicated to the family's beloved Sherman County in 1921. And this is James Demoss says this: If we can please the preachers at Walla Walla and, with the same program, please the wild men of the mountains, we surely ought to please the multitudes of the world. 10th annual tour of the Demoss family. Cloud 9. Signs. Oh, that's just a sign. But yeah, look at these instruments. Look at them. Husband, wife, 5 children. Oh, look at the patriarch. I thought that was the patriarch. There he is, right there. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. I would not have found this. You know, had to ask Google or Siri or Alexa where I should stop for the night. I asked one person what I should be doing. I listened to one person. He's very quiet. He's in a different dimension, so it's not easy. It's actually really not easy. I mean, it's what we're born to do. But with all the cultural programming and all the distractions and all the misinformation and all the information that's missed, it's hard to listen to. You have to drown everything. That noise right there, school buses and semis and campers and SUVs and Subarus and families, it's like, it never ends. It never ends. It never ends. You people, just take a break, please. Can you please take 5 minutes, 5 days, or 5 weeks, or 5 months out of your lives and sit with your own thoughts and relax in the shade and stop at a place like this. The Demoss family decided to call their homestead 142 years ago. When Elizabeth was tired. I'm sure everybody was tired, but Elizabeth spoke up. You know what, honey? That's a long climb out from the river. The Columbia River is 15 miles uphill. I just climbed it in the car. And it was tiring in a Subaru going 65 miles an hour. I can't imagine what it was like in 1883. Obviously on a horse-drawn carriage or something. With all their instruments and their kids in tow. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine how tiring that would have been. And it's hot. It's hot. It's upper 90s here. It's hot. Mid 90s. Here, that takes a little cooler here because I climbed about 2,000 feet. But sagebrush, picnic tables, sticks on the ground that I can carve, big swing, a brush pile. I can search through there for staves and stuff, to make staves. And pretty much all to myself. Now, I want to talk about this, and I don't mean to make all these videos super long, but I think 10 minutes is reasonable. I do have a lot to say. Still going? 8 minutes? I do actually have a lot to say, and it's my time to say it. At 50 years old, I mean, when do I start speaking? When do I start my ministry? When do I start letting people know what's up? So what I wanted to get to was, in this day and age, where we have Google and Siri and Alexa and whatever other search engine you use, or just the connectedness of everybody, meaning like, you know, if you have a question, you can just put it out on Facebook and somebody will answer it. I mean, there's a comedian who talks about this. Says there used to be a time when if you wanted to know like where Tom Petty was from, you'd have to wonder where Tom Petty was from for like, until you ran into somebody at a party maybe who grew up in his town and knew exactly where Tom Petty was from. But in the meantime, you didn't know where Tom Petty was from. And that gap was sometimes years, like six, you know, it'd be a while. It'd be a 6-year gap between wanting to know where Tom Petty is from and knowing where Tom Petty is from. And that gap is very important for the human mind. That gap is critical to spark curiosity, to spark imagination, to spark the questioning, the craving. The desire to want to know something and not knowing it is essential for the human mind. I wrote that in my poem, you know, in my poem Bombs of Clarity, I wrote, I now know what my dark times of low meant. They caused me to search, question, and crave a way out of Plato's dark cave. So as you search, question, and crave, it sparks the mind. It sparks growth. It makes the connections connect. When you're just spoon-fed everything, more noise. You got a sporty prowess on display, 3 motorcycles and a Can-Am crossover, whatever they're called. pulling with his Chevy Duramax high lift super beta fucking extra califragilisticalosis. Go to your party. Go to your camp. It's great, actually. It's actually, I know I sound like a dick and all that, but that's really cool if you're going to go out with your family and have a nice vacation. And you worked all year and you got your business and it's doing well. And the reward for that is a trip to the Dalles or the Columbia River. And you got toys. And I mean, that's what my family does. That's what my brothers do. That's what David does. That's what my dad, I don't know what we used to do when we went to Lake Tahoe. That's what the family does. You use your money and take a trip with the family. Now, myself, I am on a trip. And I'm on this trip of curiosity and searching and questioning and craving. And I'm on this trip of closing that gap between wanting to know and knowing. And what I want to know is, why is the world so fucked up? Why are people so cold and heartless? Why is everything so terrible? Why is everybody broke, although they're working all the time? Why is everyone sold out to like the idea of a career and a mortgage and family? It's still going 11 minutes? Yeah. Why? Why? Am I crazy? That's one of my main questions is, am I insane? No. Curious. It's not me who's out of touch. It's not me